Okay, I believe we have it ready. Excellent. Okay, I see myself. If someone on Facebook could let us know if you can hear us, that would be great. For the rest of you, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So this is our annual membership meeting, although it's open to both members and non-members. Please do share the live out to your friends, invite a few people so they can hear all about us if they don't know already. So my name is Tizita. I have the pleasure of serving as one of the board members for ECMAA for the past couple years. And so today, if someone can have the slides up, that would be helpful. We'll be talking to you about what we've done over the past year, what we plan to do, right? And an opportunity for you to get engaged, just like we had the opportunity to serve over the past few years. And so some of you may know us already and maybe have come to some of our virtual and in-person events that we've held over the past few years. So this is the opportunity to talk about that. If you're not talking, I do ask that you put yourself on mute. There'll be plenty of opportunity for you to ask questions and get engaged throughout and at the end. So today we'll be talking about, so if does anybody not know what ECMAA stands for or what we do? It's okay to say no, feel free to comment, and also let us know where you're logging in from. So ECMAA serves the community in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. I'm curious where you all are logging in from. Feel free to type in. We'll see which state is represented the most. So for those of you who may not know, ECMAA stands for Ethiopian Community Mutual Assistance Association. New York, of course, New York is represented. And so it is an organization that's been in existence. We actually just celebrated our 40th. So if you see the t-shirts that our board members are wearing, you see the number 40. We just celebrated our 40th anniversary. Yes, representing New Jersey. And so that's been around for a very long time, probably longer than or older than some of us, right? So it's an organization that's been around to help the community in the New York area, New Jersey, Connecticut, with anything from really anything that anybody needs. So we often get comments on our social media about, hey, I'm thinking about moving to the New York area, or hey, I just moved and I need resources, whether it's housing or connection to jobs and stuff like that. So that's the gist of what we do, and we do it many ways, and we've served different demographics. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll share the strategic plan review and updates. And so this is something we developed about a couple of years ago that really helped us narrow down, okay, what is it that we do as an organization? Because often when we hear of things happening everywhere, our heart jumps to kind of help, but then you have to have a focus, right, in order to be successful on where it is that we're needed the most and what we say, who we say we're going to serve. So we'll share a little bit about that. For some, that may be familiar because we also shared it last year. For some, it'll be new and helpful. Also looking ahead, right? So we'll talk a little bit about what we were able to accomplish over the past year, especially in the virtual world, in the pandemic world. Speaking of pandemic, you will hear background, my kids, right? That's been sort of our reality in the virtual world. And also looking ahead, what we hope to accomplish with your help, of course, right? We'll talk a little bit about elections. So this is the annual meeting, is to talk about not only what we've done and what we plan to do, but an opportunity to engage our larger community in the work that we do. We know that it takes work and effort, and the same people can't be doing it, right? Otherwise we'll be burnt out and we can't support our community the way that we want to. And then a discussion and feedback, and I'm sure there'll be opportunities to ask questions throughout as well. So this is what we plan to cover today. I hope that sounds good. So if we can go to the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about our strategy. So this pretty graphic right here was created with months of meetings in person, with the help of our volunteer strategist, Jonathan, right? Yeah, and so this is a great example of how you can contribute in a very meaningful way. So Jonathan came to one of our meetings and said, hey, this is the scope that I do. I help organizations create strategy, 1 year, 5 year, 10 year. I don't think I can commit to being on a board, but this is what I can do. And let me tell you, this was great work, right? So it really helped us center around what it is that we do. So, and I should say, I'm sorry. So for those, እንግዲህ ብዙ ነገሩ በእንግሊዘኛ ነው የሚሆነው አንዳንዴ በአማርኛ ይሆናል ምክንያቱም as you can see እዚህ ጋር demographic የሚለው የተለያየ እድሜ ሰው ነው የምንሸፍነው ማለት ነው ፋሚሊዎች አሉ ተለቅ ያሉ ሰዎች አሉ ስቱደንቶች አሉ ምናልባት እዚህ የተወለዱ ሰዎች አሉና ሁሉም ሰው እንዲሰማን ሞስትሊ በእንግሊዘኛ ነው የምናደርገው ግን አማርኛም ትንሽ እንግዲህ በተቻለ መጠን እንቀላቀላለን ማለት ነው So the mission is, this is a pretty sentence, but all it does really is to say that we are here to serve the needs of the community, the Ethiopian community in the New York tri-state area, New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut, right? And we do that through the cultural and educational experiences. And so the beautiful thing about ECMAA is the beneficiaries and those who create the program are kind of the same demographic, the same population, right? So our members benefit from it. We also lean on our members to come and contribute their skills and their knowledge so that our greater community can benefit. So the vision is to build a thriving and empowered and fully integrated community that has the capacity to share its culture and values while taking advantage of the socioeconomic and educational opportunities. So I love seeing when we get messages on our social media like, hey, I'm thinking about, coming to the New York area and I need help with this. Can you connect me? I love those messages because that's essentially what we stand for, right? To know that, I'm talking about folks from even other continents messages, when they're planning to come to the New York area. And I love that they know that such a community exists, that we're here to help them. But we lean on not only the board members, but again, the larger community to be able to connect folks to resources so that they know they're not alone, right? So our objectives are active membership. That's huge. That's how we do the work that we do. The 10 or so board members cannot do what we do without our active membership, right? We'll talk a little bit about what that means. So it's not just, paying a membership fee, which is very nominal, about $30 a year, but also really being engaged and sharing and being generous with your energy and time and expertise, right? Sharing resources. And so we have a number of sort of speakers, if you will, on certain topics that come in, such as we have an HR professional that helps us with resume and interview, and we have families who've gone through the college application process who created workshops, and we'll talk a little bit in detail about them, but we really do depend on our community to serve our demographic. Creating opportunities. And so if you have been recipients of our newsletters, you will know that we share out, if there's films coming up or if there's events coming up, whether there are members or not, if it's about, the Ethiopian community, we like to share those opportunities so that it reaches, larger population and everyone can benefit. We also try to present opportunities to business owners where it makes sense. So that they're in front of our community. So we started featuring some on our social media, for example, both Facebook and Instagram. And then heritage is a big one, right? So especially those of us who are parents, it's really important that we maintain. Hold on.
Hey, everybody. I'll pick up. There we go. You're back. Go
All
for
is
it.
well, and they're alive. I just yelled at them. Where was I? Heritage, yes. And so especially those of us who are parents, right? So it's really important that we instill the values of our cultures in our kids. And there's many ways that we do that. Through one of them is Amharic classes, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later. Before, when everybody felt comfortable getting together, we also got together at the Museum of Arts, I believe, in New York City, and showed off our eskista and all that good stuff. Our audience, as I mentioned, is the tri-state, and it's really all demographics. So our programming is not focused on any specific demographic. It really covers all of them. We even have something called a talk, if you guys don't know about it. So it's an attempt to help connect folks so that they can see if there's some magic we can make happen, right? The drivers are education, heritage, as I mentioned, social services. So when COVID happened, there were a lot of information being given out for all states, right? So whether it's rental assistance or if you own a business, anything that the government on a federal and state level provided, vaccine information. And so in a way that our folks can understand and feel comfortable with, right? And then the networking piece as well. I mean, anytime there's virtual or real events happening, we try to be intentional. If any of you joined us for our last picnic that happened last month, we had different color-coded bracelets so we can get to meet other folks sort of in similar life inflections. And really our foundation, the way we do it is through our event planning, as I've been talking, our community engagement, volunteering, and then fundraising. So we do have some supporters in addition to your membership. Sometimes we get business sponsorships, or we used to get also some donations. Now we're in a better position. We try to actually support the businesses who've been supporting us. So this is essentially the gist of our strategic plan and how we go about what we do. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'm not going to say a whole lot here because a lot of what I said really covers what we do, right? The drivers in our foundation, how we do things through education, through social services, through, preserving heritage and culture. And as I mentioned in the very first slide, our foundation is really, the community is both the foundation and the beneficiary, right? So we're the ones that kind of keep the organization going through the gift of our time and talents and gifts. But also we're also the beneficiary, right? So if I'm on a board capacity, as an example, giving my time and talents, but say my kids benefit from them, I'm higher class, it's sort of a win-win, right? So I think the biggest takeaway here is we cannot just be in any, whether it's ECMAA or outside, we cannot just sit and benefit from organizations, especially volunteer-led organizations. We have to have the consciousness to say, what can I do, right? It doesn't matter how small it is. Even if it means cleaning up after an event, there has to be something we feel like we have to contribute in order to continue not only benefiting from the organization, but to help support our community, right? So there's many ways you can stay informed. Obviously, if you're a member or if you renew a member, which is only $30 a year, which is very nominal. I mean, that's like a lunch somewhere, right? You can stay engaged and you can receive our beautifully, beautifully designed newsletter that has tons of information from what's happening with ECMAA to things happening in the New York tri-area, to arts and to happenings, and really just all around a great resource. You can, even if you're not a member, there is a way for you to go on our website, ecmaanewyork.org, and opt in to get our communication and newsletters. And it's a two-way, guys. It's not just, we don't just push out what ECMAA does. We really are intentional about sharing what's happening among the community and how we can support them, share out their information and their happenings as well. Tell your friends about ECMAA, right? So especially if they're new in the community, they need support. You'll be surprised what we can connect them with. And then obviously, supporting, looking at our website to see what may be happening that you can benefit from or contribute to. We do have social media presence, as I mentioned, both on Facebook and Instagram. Please follow us. So everyone here, I see 21 people. If you're not just following us, at least on Zoom, I'm sure there's many others on Facebook. Definitely give us a follow. And then there will be an opportunity later on, we'll talk about, to be a board member and the benefits and the joy that we get from giving to our community. And there's also internship opportunities that we offer, where young students can get really quality experience that they can then add to their resumes, right? So with that, I will hand it off to our president, Dinsri Fikru, who'll tell us a little bit more about collaboration and other ways for you to get engaged.
Thank you so much, Tazu, for just starting us off so beautifully, and for all the work that you do, you and your family, your boys included, with all the boyhood joys they bring to our meetings. So I'll start off by saying that we're one of many organizations. As much as we're focused on the work that we do, we're also very much interested in promoting the work of others. and really recognize that we're not here to work at cross purposes with anybody else, but to create the space so that everyone has the opportunity to feel like they belong somewhere, as long as they're part of the Ethiopian community in some way, whether it's born there, born here, associated by marriage or partnership, whatever it is, or through adoption. We want to create some space for everybody, knowing that we know that there are lots of other organizations within the New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut areas. And so we're interested in collaborating and working with everybody to do that. The ways in which we do this is by promoting the work and initiatives that they have through our newsletters, through social media, and our ongoing emails that we send regularly. We love to attend events, and we love to co-sponsor on things that line up with where we're going, with things that are consistent with our strategic initiatives. An example of this is for the Wagan Lawagan initiative that got started as in response to COVID-19. We were struggling here in New York. We're one of the first ones hit, and it was really hard to figure out how to be there for Ethiopia. But we also knew that as ECMAA, we were focused on helping people who live here in the New York tri-state area. So though we could not take on a lot of projects, we could support the work of a group of organizations that pull together. There are about 6-7 solidly represented organizations that work together to raise money to give to Ethiopia, and have established an organization now called Wagan Lawagan, and who are taking on different initiatives. And so an example of what we've done is share their work. That group is collecting medical supplies to send to Ethiopia, things that are really low cost, low effort on our end. Something as small as purchasing a medical supply on Amazon and sending it to a particular address could make a huge difference elsewhere. So though ECMAA can't take on a project like that, it can be a partner, it can advertise the work, and we'll tell you more about this. And this is an example of what it means for us to collaborate with others who are doing the work that that's in line with what we'd like to do. So for the rest of kind of the presentation, at least the bulk of the presentation, we're just going to hone in on the objectives Tuzu told us about a little bit earlier. I'm going to focus a little bit on active membership and what we have in mind here. So when we talk about active membership, the strategic plan that we developed with Jonathan a couple of years ago is going to be the driver for the work that we're doing. So in terms of active membership, the goal we laid out is that we wanted to increase ECMAA's email circulation list and engage as much of the community through registered membership as possible. So our goal was to, we had about 40 paying members in 2019, is to, to do 4 or 5 times that later. And what we've done is, though we've done a really fantastic job of getting as many people going into one-time memberships, what we've learned is that people are happy, willing to pay the nominal fee. And again, for us, it's not the fee as such as the active engagement that we're really looking for. And so though we have these one-time excited memberships, one of the things that we really need to work on is a systematic way of renewing that membership every year. So since 2018, we've had, it says 142, we're about 150, close to 160 members, paying members who've made that one-time payment. But we're building up infrastructure to build that up. And we've expanded our email, and the goal is also to expand the email circulation list, where we're at about 590. So the ways in which we've tried to do this in the past is by having a stronger presence online, and to make sure that we have some in-person activities. Of course, that's been constrained as a result of COVID, but we're slowly coming out of the constraints that have been placed there. By developing programming that's responsive to the community's needs. And some of this is asking and having people let us know. But online sometimes is a hard way to collect that information. And so the annual meeting is really the opportunity for you all to let us know what you're interested in. And so we've created some space for that at the end of this meeting so that you can let us know what you're interested in seeing. We've engaged current members. Tizu talked about a couple of members who've come and sponsored a whole event so that they can share their expertise, their resources with everybody else. I'll walk you through our online membership process in just a second. The other huge benefit that we've had is from corporate matching funds. I don't know if many of you know, but whatever your donations are, depending on which company you work for, could be matched 100% by your employer. And so this has been another way to make sure that you're engaged by just being a member, by making whatever contribution, even your time could be matched in funds if you check. And this is the link, we'll put it in chat at some point, for checking to see if your employer does matching gifts. We've painfully walked through learning Salesforce on our own to be able to automate as much of this work as possible. As we've told you, people excitedly join and pay the $30 and are completely fine, but it takes work for us to make sure we're engaging every year to renew that membership. And so part of what we are trying to do is create a tool. And this is something else another community member helped us launch. So now we just have to keep taking it further and using it. And so these are the kinds of things that we've done to make sure that the community is actively engaged. And we're looking to grow and look for your help and ideas on how to continue to do that. On our website, this is kind of a screenshot of our membership page. But really our website, I don't know that this is the most current way to get up-to-date information. The best way is to make sure you're following us on Facebook and on Instagram, because those are updated, if not daily, more frequently than our website. But our website does have resources of information. So upcoming events will be the first page where whatever's coming up next will put up some basic information for you. In the About Us section will be the collection of newsletters from the beginning, from when we started newsletters. You'll get a good sense of what our history is and what we've been doing. The staff are really the volunteers, the board. You'll learn a little bit more about us under About Us as well. But what I'm gonna focus on for now is the membership page. This membership page is something our board member, Vice President Yisak, has set up for us so that it's easier for everybody to just join in. What we've learned is that this can be a way for people to formally join and to get on our email list. So don't see it as a full commitment to membership to fill out, but to your friends, for yourself. Those of you who are here are likely people who filled out this form already. But if you haven't, if you have friends who want to be on our newsletter, on our email distribution list, this is a way for them to do it. It's a Google form that's linked to our website, and we ask some questions just so we have a way of figuring out how to be responsive. So it's on our membership page of the website, and we encourage you to fill it out if you haven't already.
Can we do a quick poll here before we move on, Dins? I don't know if our poll is able to be launched. I'm curious to see how many of us are members versus non-members. Asaf, was it letting me launch it?
Can you see the results?
Oh, did it come up? I don't even see it come up, maybe because I'm logged in as an admin. I only see the slide that we're sharing.
Yes, 83%.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you. And so on our website, which is ECMAA, ECMAA-NY.org. Are these pages and our events listings will have pictures from past events. And then our resources page is another one that you should really pay attention to. It's another one of those pages that our intern, Rahil's daughter, Helena, created for us. And what it does is by education, by health, by housing, lists resources available in the community. We also have a contributions page at the bottom of the page. The annual membership fee is $30, but this is also a way, if you're interested in donating, an opportunity to do that. And on that membership page, this is an option. You do not, though this is organized through PayPal, you do not have to have a PayPal account. It's a way of making payment, both for membership and for donations if you're interested. We'll talk about our finances later. Your membership fees and the contributions do not have a significant, they're not a big part of the budget. We find lots of different ways to raise money to do the work that we do, but it is helpful in building up the infrastructure for the organization. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to introduce Tigist Hailu to tell us a little bit more about the sharing resources objective.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tigist. I served on the board for the past year. The next few slides about sharing resources. As Tizita had mentioned, one of our core values is to share resources. That way we can retain a lot of connections within the community. So we're always trying to find new ways to engage members, and especially over the past year, we had to be really creative with how we were going to do that. So you can go to the next slide. So over the past year, how we were able to share some resources amidst COVID-19 was to do those virtually. And what we did was, one of the first events of the year was the college planning workshop. And that's something that we do every year. It pretty much helps parents and students with the transition into post-secondary school. We also had a virtual real estate workshop that Tizita had launched to help buyers and sellers. So that way we connected people that were in the market, and we were able to do that safely virtually. And then throughout the year, a theme that we keep mentioning is the newsletters. And that's something that as a member you have access to. We will email them to you once a month. And they include community events, updates on different workshops that we're hosting. COVID-19 testing and vaccination information was a big part of our newsletters over the year. And we also target different businesses and highlight new businesses and entrepreneurs or funding opportunities. And that's why we connect the community to one another, is by introducing a new Ethiopian business that may have launched, or like Tizita said, something in media or in the arts. And that way we can also use the newsletter. So basically the newsletter was allowed us to document ECMAA over the year. So we plan to continue doing that moving forward. So I think there's another poll that we're going to answer before we move on. And I'm going to introduce Ababa to talk about creating opportunities. Thank you.
እሺ አበባ ነኝ። በአማርኛ ነው የምናገረው። እኔ አብዛኞቻችን አማርኛ ተናጋሪዎች ያለን ይመስለኛል። ይሰማል? ለእኔ እንግዲህ ክሪኤቲቭ ኦፖርቹኒቲ ነው። እሱም ለኤክማ ምን ማለት ነው፣ ኤክማ እንዴት ነው የምንጠቀምበት የሚለውን ነው። አባሎቻችን ከተለያዩ አባሎች ከአካባቢ ከሚኖሩ ከሶስት ትራይ ስቴት ኤሪያ ከሚኖሩት ጋር እንዴት ማገናኘት እንችላለን የሚለው ነው አንዱ መንገድ። እንግዲህ እንተዋወቅ ነው። እስካሁን ሁለቴ እንተዋወቅ ፕሮግራም ነበረን። ሁለቱም በጣም ሳክሰስፉል ነበር። በዚህ ዓመት አላደረግንም። ሆፕፉሊ ዓመቱ ከማለቁ በፊት እናደርጋለን ብለን ፕላን አለን። በዚህን ጊዜ ባለፈው ጊዜ ሃይስት የተገኘበት ከ40 በላይ የሆኑ ሰዎች ተገኝተው ነበር። በጣም ደስ የሚል ምሽት ነው የነበረን። ኦፍኮርስ ለትዳር የቀረበ የለም ወይንም ቤት ተደረገ የተባለ የለም የሰማነው፣ ግን ተጀምሮ ነበር። ጥሩ ነው። በዛ ላይ ብዙ ሰዎች ኤክስፒሪየንሳቸውን ሼር ያደርጋሉ፣ ኔትወርኪንግ ይፈጥራሉ በአጋጣሚው እና ብዙ ጥሩ ፊድባክ አግኝተናል። እንዴት ማድረግ እንዳለብን በኤጅ በተለያየ ኤጅ ግሩፕ መነጣጠሉ ጥሩ እንደሆነ ከ20 እስከ 30 ከ30 እስከ 40 አይነት ነገር እና ስቲል እያየ ነው። ሆፕፉሊ ባይ ኔክስት መንዝ እናደርጋለን ብለን እናስባለን። ሌላው ሁለተኛው መገናኛ መንገድ እንግዲህ የኢትዮጵያን ዴይ ፒክኒክ ነው። እሱ በዚህ ዓመትና በ2 years ago የነበረው የተለየ ነው። ዘንድሮ በጣም ኤክስፔክት ካደረግነው በላይ ሰው ነበር የተገኘው። በጣም ደስ ይል ነበር። የኛን ስራ አብዛኛዎቹን ቮለንተርስ ወስደውት ነበረ። ሜምበርሺፕን በመመዝገብ በጣም ትልቅ ስራ የሰሩት እኛ ሌላ ስራ ለመስራት እድል ሰጥቶናል እነሱ ዜቱ ኮኦቨር እና በጣም ደስ የሚል ጊዜ ነበር። አምሹር ወጣት በብዛት የኮሌጅ ተማሪዎች ነበሩ። አቴንሽናቸውን ሁሉ ለተለያየ ጌም ለማምጣት ችግሮን ነበር፣ ግን አት ዘ ሴም ታይም ደግሞ የራሳቸውን ኔትወርኪንግ እየፈጠሩ ነበር እና በጣም ደስ የሚል ጊዜ ነበር ያሳለፍነው። ጌምም በተለያየ ግሩፕ ላይ ያደረግነው ቬሪ ፕሮዳክቲቭ ነበር። ሁሉም ፓርቲሲፔት ያደረገበት ነበር። ህፃናቶች የተለያየ ጨዋታ የተጫወቱበት ጊዜ ነበር። ፋሚሊዎች ልጆች ጥሩ ጊዜ ነው ያሳለፉት ነበር። የተለያየ ጌም ነበር፣ ዘፈንም ነበር። ደስ የሚል ጊዜ ሁላችንም አሳልፈን ነበር እና አይ ቲንክ በጣም ሳክሰስፉል የሆነ ኦፖርቹኒቲ ነበር ማለት ነው እና ለወደፊቱ ደግሞ እንደሚቀጥል እንደሚሰፋ በጣም ተማመናለሁ ማለት ነው። ከዚህ በመቀጠል ሌላው ኦፖርቹኒቲ ክሬት ኦፖርቹኒቲ ያደረግነው ለመገናኘት የተፈጠረበት መንገድ ሳከር ነው። ያን ለአደም እየሰጠዋለሁ። አደም
Thank you, Ababa. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Adam. I have been on the board for a couple of years as well. After over a year of strange, in-person meetings, we launched off our first in-person event with a soccer game. It was mid-June. We had a very good turnout. We had a good mix of kids and adults as well. We played soccer, we played volleyball, there was music as well, and there was also lots of connections that was made. As Diz noted out, there were a lot of college students about to graduate or that just graduated and seeking internship or job opportunities, and I think they were very happy to meet kids that graduated from college. And we also have at least one more game coming up, maybe end of October, or it could be early November. We're trying to decide the date because we have other events as well coming up. And it was just a very wonderful days we've had. And we had 3 games this year. I think we had one in June, July, and August, even though we had the July game towards the end of July and early August. We want to do it in a more consistent way. We also like your feedback so that we can do it better. We don't have to just keep on doing soccer. We can have volleyball or walking or biking or running. You let us know and we'll see how we can make that happen. And I will pass it back to the next person. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Hanna Yusuf. I have been part of the board for the last year, and it's been a great privilege to work with the board members. And I'm going to be covering the last but not the least objective, which is to promote our heritage. So at ECMAA, our Ethiopian heritage is what brings us together. We have a beautiful heritage, we have a beautiful language, and we have a beautiful culture. So for those of us who were born and raised in Ethiopia, while we live outside of our home country, how do we keep how do we keep connected to our cultural ties? And then for those of us who are born here, how do we learn about our history? How do we learn about our culture and our language? So with this objective, ECMAA tries to be a resource as much as possible to promote our Ethiopian history, our culture, and our language. And the objective is to really honor our culture and our values with all its beauty and diversity, to provide us a sense of unity and connect us to, from one generation to another, to help us better understand where we come from. And then to be able to pass that along to the next generation. Zita did a beautiful illustration earlier talking about how do we pass that along to our kids. If we can go to the next slide, please. One of the ways we do this is by providing classes for Amharic language. So language is, one big way of our identity. Not all of us are fluent in Amharic, so how do we be a resource for those of us who want to learn more about the language? So to that end, we provide level 1 and level 2 classes of language with partnership with the UN Amharic Language Club. So the level 1 Amharic class was offered back in the spring, and we're offering level 2 this fall. It is starting on October 25. So for those of you who are interested in enrolling for the level 2, we're going to leave the registration link down in the chat below. Also, if you can check our newsletter, we will provide a registration link there as well. So make sure you register before October 25th. That is the deadline. With this class, we are going to offer 10 sessions. And if you have any interest, any more questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We had a lot of people providing really great feedback on the level 1 language class that was offered back in the springtime. So if you're interested in learning, please don't let this pass you. The other thing that we did this year that's slightly different is we started incorporating Amharic. We call it the Amharic Corner in our newsletters. So if you remember, you regularly receive our monthly newsletter. So we have tried to incorporate some Amharic sayings, Taratana Masalik, all of those fun things that the Amharic language has to offer in all of its richness. So, and we sometimes talk about, like what happens in Ethiopia around this time. So around Buhe, around the Ethiopian New Year, we talked a little bit about the culture and some of the things that happen back home. So this is just with the goal of we live here, but we still want to remember our culture and things that we used to do back home. So the vision with the Amharic language is, you see it on the slide, we want to be able to offer more classes and rotating teachers, and then we want to focus on child learning. So I would like to reiterate that if you are good in your Amharic language skills, if you have time to offer and participate and help and be a resource to the community in this way, please let us know. We can use additional people to serve as teachers. If we can go to the next slide. Another way that we can, or we try to be a resource to the community to promote our heritage is by remembering the Ethiopian history. And this particular day, Yekatit Asrahulet Remembrance Day, we celebrate, ECMAA celebrates this day every year. So this actually has been one of my favorite things, even before I became a board member, to attend. I learned so much history by just attending. And I remember when the I2 theater group came from the DC area a couple of years ago, it was just so powerful. They did a play to basically give us a glimpse of what that was like, what the massacre looked like back when it happened. And it's just a lot of really, really good information, content in terms of history, and just it helps us empathize really with what had happened. So we try to do this every year. And this year in the virtual environment, what we have done is we had a panel discussion. We invited two prominent speakers. One is Jeff Pierce. A lot of you would recognize his name. He has a very well-known book, Prevail, where he talks about the Ethio-Italian War very much in depth, and he's a strong advocate for Ethiopia. The other speaker that we had is Nicola DeMarco, an Italian-American human rights activist who resides in New York City, and a friend of ECMAA. So we had a really great turnout. A lot of people gave us positive feedback on that event. We were able to learn a lot from them. It was a great discussion and interactive as well. So the whole objective of Yekatit Asrahulet is, like I said earlier, really to honor and remember the victims, the Ethiopian victims during that massacre, to really make sure that we all know that part of history, to revisit the courage and the resistance and the sacrifices that were paid by our forefathers. If we can go to the next slide. Another way that we continue to promote our Ethiopian history and heritage is by doing book reviews. So we, as much as possible, we try to highlight Ethiopian authors or writers that are specifically in the tri-state area. And this year we were able to have a book review discussion with Dr. Habtamu Tagany, who resides in New Jersey. He wrote a book that's called Barara. So we had a panel discussion with him as one of the main speakers, but we invited two other prominent Ethiopian historians as well to give their insight about the book, which it was also very educational for all of us. It was very interactive, a lot of interest, and so many people joined us on Facebook, YouTube, as well as directly in the Zoom discussion. So we hope to continue to be able to do this in the future as well. And the objective of doing a book review is really, again, it helps us to connect to our ties. It helps us to promote our cultural identity, not just for us, but to the next generation, our kids as well. It is a good space for us to share different perspectives, different viewpoints, and we try to make this a safe space as much as possible. It's also, a venue where we can get together and, we can create new friendships and maintain the old friendship as well. So with that, I will pass it to Rahel.
Hi, everyone. Rahel Gitachone. I have been a member of ECMAA's board for the past 3 years as their secretary. So I'm going to talk about our 5-year plan. So based on our strategic plan, we developed a 5-year goal, which are anchored on our drivers of education, heritage, culture, social services, and networking. So in 2020, our goal was to host large events, bring speakers from outside New York, double ECMAA's membership, and partner with at least 3 organizations. And as everybody mentioned, I'm not going to repeat all the programmings that have happened in the last year, but just to highlight few, in 2020, we had the mental health event where we partnered with the mayor's office, Thrive NYC. We had a huge drive for the census. And then, of course, right before COVID pandemic was declared, we did the Yulunta and Gamena, and we partnered with the IDIR African Service Committee and the Abasha Health. Petros at the hour, like Hannah mentioned, and the Yakati 12 events. And then during COVID, we worked with Connecticut and Massachusetts Ethiopian community associations in terms of helping our community navigate paperwork, unemployment, the stimulus benefits, and all that stuff, and had open house and office hours to answer any questions. And in 2021, we also did things like helping students, providing Thanksgiving meal to students that couldn't go back home. So those are the things we did in 2020 and 2021. Our goal was to double our partnerships, quadruple ECMA membership, and hire hopefully a part-time executive director. As you know, because of COVID, a lot of our programming went online, and we were not able to do as much as we hoped in terms of outreach and aggressive membership growth. But we stuck with our bread and butter programming of college planning, resume and career, home ownership seminars, soccer and fitness, and the teen experience to make sure that our teens are taken care of. We had Zoom children's story time and personal finance workshops during that time. For 2022 and 2023, which should be combined, the purple one, our goal is to at least partner with 10% of each of the subgroups and develop a calendar of events. So with the new board that is going to be elected in November, some of these 5-year plans would be flushed out and revised to make sure that whatever we weren't able to address in 2021 are incorporated in 2022 to 2025. And for 2024, one of our big dreams is to have a dedicated ECMA venue and to have a significant percentage of the New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Ethiopian population be an active participant of our organization, and to continue to work and co-sponsor with other organizations, Ethiopian organizations and African organizations within the tri-state area. Then I will now turn it over to Dins. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahel. Thank you, everybody. So far, money's complicated. We have a treasurer who's not able to be here today, and so just going to take this moment to give an overview of our financial position. Money comes with lots of complications and expectations, and so far we don't have a dedicated funding stream that ends up having lots of strings that are connected to it. That gives us a lot of freedom to raise the money that we need and to be able to use it for the activities that line up with our strategic plan. And so far, the membership costs and the funds that we collect from whatever source are dedicated to these types of expenses. So the kinds of expenses that we have that are ongoing include website maintenance. It's the Zoom account, the postal box, the PO box that we maintain. These are ongoing monthly or annual expenses that are fixed, and that's what the money that you all provide or that we raise for ECMA go toward. Additionally, we have one-time expenses that include space, refreshments, advertisement, and other expenses that are associated with a particular event or a series of events. Examples of this include the picnic. The picnic is a day or an event that we plan at no cost to anybody to make sure that we promote ECMA. It has costs associated with it. And so it's an example of one of the ones that we have. Finally, we launched this during COVID. We created a crisis fund so that we can collect money that's dedicated to not ECMA, but to people in the community who need assistance. So we launched the Fat'anahailu Crisis Fund during COVID, and it was to provide financial assistance for families, vulnerable households that are facing emergencies. Like I said, an example of this was, as everyone with some, who has a documentation for being here was receiving government assistance, there were members of our community that were left out. So we tried very hard to provide some funding to support those households. In terms of revenue, money that comes to us comes from membership fees that you all pay. Thank you all. And donations to ECMA from online initiatives, from events. For example, there's a Giving Tuesday fund on Facebook where if we all as a community kind of give some right away, Facebook matches those donations. And so there's an opportunity to make your contributions count twice as much. And we talked about matching funds from corporations already earlier. Finally, we have, whether it's crisis or something else, we have, like the Fat'anahailu Fund, created a fund that is just about raising money to help families. And again, one of my favorite stories is every time we say who needs help and who would like to help and put out a call, there are often many more people who want to help than people who seek help. And this is one of the things that we focus on and want to work on in the long run, for sure. We want to make sure people aren't shy to ask for help. We want to make sure that we're in the community to kind of get a sense of who needs financial assistance so that we can provide it. Of course, our funds are limited, but we want to make sure that it's used in this way. And so one of my favorite things, like I was saying, is for Thanksgiving, we asked such a question, right? We weren't able to host families as we would like in general. There are many families who say, how can we help? We'd love to host students or others who may not have other places to go. Since we could not do this, we asked who could help, who needed help. And some students raised their hands and a whole bunch of other people raised their hands to offer funds. And so we facilitated that and were able to provide a meal from an Ethiopian restaurant and have it delivered. They were grateful and happy, and were a lot of the people that you saw volunteering at the Ethiopian Day Picnic. In terms of our net position, when we talk about the Fat'anahailu Fund, the funds that are available for families, we have about 1,500 that's available. That's been collected and left over, beyond the distributions that have been made already. And then for ECMA's position, separate from that, we have about 17,000 as our net position. I know Ababa's laughing right now because I think a couple of years ago, we were not in such a financial position. This isn't anywhere near what we need to hire a part-time executive director, for sure. But it gets us solid to be able to plan some things. And like Tizita said, to make sure that at our events, we're not asking restaurants or others to give us anymore. We're investing and purchasing things. And so those of you who enjoyed cake at our family day, at our Ethiopian Day Picnic, that was cake fully purchased from Sete Pani. And, the other things that we provide, instead of soliciting, that doesn't mean we won't ask for donations, we will. But at this point, we're in a position to invest in businesses. And so that's where we are right now. We'll continue to ask you for your memberships, because we are in the long run looking to build up. We're looking for anybody who can do fundraising and proposal writing, so that we can, we are in a healthy position to fund events right now, but we are looking to make sure that we have at least a part-time the ability to fund a position part-time so that we can be there when people are experiencing crisis in a way that's not taxing of everybody who's volunteering their time. We are looking to raise funds to have this space, whether in collaboration with other organizations or on our own. So we will continue to ask for help, but this is our financial position right now.
And then may I add something before we move on? So two very easy and quick ways to support ECMA is I just typed in the chat. Most of us use Amazon. So instead of just going to Amazon.com, if you do smile.amazon.com, you're able to choose a nonprofit or charity of your choice. And if you spell out, I don't think it comes up at ECMA, but if you spell out Ethiopian Community Mutual Assistance Association in New York City, and kind of delegate that as the organization you want to support, Amazon from every purchase will donate a small portion. The other is those of you who are on Facebook, you may have seen a Facebook birthday campaign, right? So most people will say, hey, it's my birthday. In honor of my birthday, please support this organization because I care about the work that they do. So it's a very easy way to support our organization. And those of you who don't have Facebook, you can simply use the link that Din shared earlier on our website, the donate button. So you can just send that out as a text or birthday invitation or whatever. So there's many ways to be intentional to support our organization.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. I'm going to pause for a little bit and because I just need to find a way to really truly express the thanks that that's warranted, owed to everybody who serves on the board, who steps up to volunteer and give their time to ECMA. There are 11 positions on the board, and the members who've been doing a lot of work in this area and have given their time, theirs and their families' time to do this work include me and my family, and this includes my mom, my brothers, really all of us. Adam, Ababa, Rahel, Tizita, Yisak, who have been on the board for the last 3 years at the very least. And then going on and really being thankful about people who've just joined and really exploded what we can do. We've been doing a pretty good job, but every year we do more. If you've been following ECMA for a little bit, you see more in our newsletter, you see more in our social media, you see us more present, more able to do a whole bunch of different, touch a couple of different areas. And this is because of new injections. Hanna has been amazing, giving her time to this. Radiate has been organizing our finances and building up some great infrastructure. Tigist has taken over the newsletter, has made it amazing in terms of promoting businesses, artists, all of the extras that you see in the newsletters from the new groups of people who've joined us recently. Aman has been, organizing soccer and connecting us to the student community a lot more. And Mike has been a part of this, has not been able to be in the organization as long as we'd have liked, but has been able to contribute as well. The other thing that we did last year that I'm eternally grateful for is create an advisory council. So not everybody's able to give their time on the board. And so the advisory council has been a way for people to give their time with a minimal commitment of at least quarterly attending our meetings and giving their thoughts. We've been really able to take full advantage of Asaf Fash, who's been a phenomenal addition to the team in helping us move things forward, to Ato Brahane, who's been part of ECMA and has gotten it to where it needed to be before a new group of people kind of got got incorporated into the organization and has been steadily available, guiding to guiding our work and continuing to be the valuable resource that he's always been to ECMA through the advisory council. Through the advisory council, and we're so eternally grateful. And then Bethlehem Bakala, who is a transplant from New York to Washington, D.C., but who just couldn't let go and found a way to be helpful, to give us energy, keep us excited, promote our work as a member of the advisory council. And then Muna in the same, or Fana, who also was a board member, has continued to be in the advisory council. And Ato Kasahun, who's been part of ECMA forever and has formalized it through the advisory council. So these are the people who've been tirelessly putting together what you see in person and also what you see behind the scenes. We get together once a month on Sundays and figure out what it is that we're going to do. And each of us take something that we care about and love and would have done anyway and get the support we need to make it happen, to have a team to work with to make it happen. We do it within the board, but then we ask you for your help as well. And so I'm pausing from the presentation to describe this work to you, because as part of this work, what we end up becoming is a family. I know that's my personal feeling, and I've heard it from others, where over time, we not only learn how to work together and be there for the community, but we develop our own connections and feelings and warmth with each other to create our own community within a community. So we invite you to join us. And before I go further into this and describe the different positions and what happens, I want to just take a moment to give board members a chance to talk about anything that they would want to talk about in terms of what brought them to the board and what they've done and what they've gotten from it. I'll pause and I will call on Yitzhak first.
For sure, I'm honored. Thank you, Dins. So this is Yitzhak. I'm a board member of ECMA. I was a board member for around 2 years. So what I would want to highlight is, I think, one, the initiative that, I was able to take in the beginning. I'm being told that my camera is off. Due to network issues, I'm on my phone and it's not letting me turn on my camera. I think I'd have to go to settings. But just for time's sake, I'll just say what I need to say and I'll go back on the video. So in terms of, what I want to talk about is, in the beginning when ECMA, when I got introduced to ECMA, was really just to meet, to get to meet someone who was recently moving to New York and got my contact information. And then, we decided to meet at an ECMA event. And I didn't know about ECMA, before that. It was the first time that I ever heard about ECMA, and we found it on a Meet. It was like the Meet app, right? So I went to the event, and then I really got pulled by Dins's speech. She gave a speech then. So I came to the annual meeting, and then in that annual meeting, lo and behold, it seemed like, vice president position was being open. And for me, I had no intention of being vice president, to be honest with you. But honestly, that was, for me, the way that I can get my foot in the door to help our community in the New York tri-state area, right? So it was just literally me, taking the initiative and saying I was interested, and everybody made me feel comfortable. I don't think someone with my age and my limited experience in just this world, right, to hold a vice president position in a nonprofit, I think it was more, everybody was very welcoming, and it's really what you make it, right? The experience that you'll have as a board member is not as intimidating as it might seem from an outside perspective. It's more, it's a platform to be able to, like Din said, right, to do what you already, would do in your own time. You just have a platform to do it, and the impact you already know is going to be the Abusha community, the open community. So in terms of my involvement, and in terms of, what I've been able to do so far as a board member was, as coming from an IT background, you know, I really jumped onto the website, right? And being able to get us to a level where we can, you know, donate on the website and restructure it so you can directly become a member, right? Directly on the website. And another passion of mine is also just engaging with and uplifting the youth, right? And so I was involved in the teen experience. So as you can see, my involvement really catered to what my interest and passion was. It wasn't like, oh, you know, Ishak, you're a VP, or Ishak, you're a VP. This A, B, and C is, you know, what you know, specifically have to do. So it's very open-ended. So I just wanted to let everybody know, like, you know, it's going to be what you make it. And it's not as intimidating as it might look from the outside. Thank you.
Thanks, Isaac. Then I'll invite any other board members to talk about their experience, if any, no obligation.
I'll say a few words. I don't know if I missed it, but something that I don't think I heard Isaac say is he walked in a meeting and he raised his hands. He's like, I want to do this. Like, no one had to poke him, right? No one had to beg him. And I love when I see that in our community because, you know, Hanna said we have such a beautiful and rich community and culture. But what I will say, some of the downfalls is we're not used to raising our hands and say, I want to do this. I want to contribute, right? And the few people that are known to do some community work, time and time again, the hand is pointed towards them, right? I mean, we're human. We get tired, right, when we do this in and out. And so that's something I really loved about him. For me, a few years ago, I got an email. Somehow my email was in the ECMAA system. I've heard of ECMAA. So we just, for those of you who came in late, ECMAA celebrated its 40th anniversary. So, you know, that may be for some of us older than how long we've been alive, right? And so I've heard about this ECMAA organization, didn't quite understand exactly what it did. I knew it was an human organization. So when I got that email, though, it was pretty solid. It was clear and how, you know, what the plan was. I think the email came from Dins at the time. And here's what we plan to do. Here's what we know. Here's where we need your help. And so I'm very selective about what I raise my hands for and where I put my time. And I have a lot on my plate, right? But the communication seems solid. I went, I listened, and I walked away being a board member, right? I went in for informational session and I walked away being a board member. And one thing I can tell you is this is not an organization where we just talk. We walk the talk. That's really what attracted me. Like the board members here, we say something and then we do it, right? So it's not just, you know, meeting after meeting. The meetings are very, you know, if we say an hour, it's usually an hour, right? And I really did used to miss the face-to-face meetings in New York, although I'm in New Jersey. I enjoyed getting there. I enjoyed the anticipation of a very productive meeting where we make a lot of magic happen, right? And so a lot of the work that you see, a lot of the workshops, you know, we're able to offer because of the time and talent that we're able to give and also engage. It's a very warm, welcoming type of group. So take it from me, for those of you who are very conscious about how and when you want to give your time, this is one of those organizations where you really get to make an impact and stuff gets done, right? It's not just talk, and that's really huge for me. I'm also, you know, a type of person where I don't like to sit back and just take from organizations, right, and communities. I want to actively contribute into them, especially if it benefits myself or my kids or my community. And so for me, it was huge that as someone who came here at the age of 14, you know, right? So this is one of the things the organization does. And so I can't just sit and just take what everyone works on. I have to, my conscience tells me I have to contribute also. So that's, you know, one of the reasons that, among other things that are on my plate, that I continue to give to the organization. And I hope this resonates with some of you.
እኔ ነገር ለማለት መጀመሪያ ድንሲ በጣም ሳታወሪው ያለፍሽው ስለ አንቺ ቤተሰቦች ነው። የአንቺ ቤተሰቦች ለዚህ አንቺ እስከ ቤተሰቦችሽ ነው በጣም መታበረክቸው ያለሽው። አሁን ይሄ ያለፈው ፒክኒኩም ሆነ የሁለቱም ፒክኒክ ያደረግነው የአንቺ ወንድሞች ፓርቲሲፔት ባያደርጉ ከመጀመሪያ እስከ መጨረሻ ፍሮም ሴትአፕ ጀምሮ ፋሚሊዎችሽን ይዘሽ ነው ፓርቲሲፔት ያደረግሽው። ሲጨረስ ወንበር በማምጣት በመጫን ኤኒ ሌበረስ የሆነ ጃብ they really did contributed a lot. Now we are really very grateful to have you, as our president. I wish you continue forever as a president. ሌላው ደግሞ የሙና ልጅ ነች። የሙና ልጅ 2 ዓመት ቴክኒኩን as a photographer በጣም ቆንጆ ዘንድሮ የተወሰደው ፎቶግራፍ ብዙ አክሽን ያለው እናት ልጇን ቴከር ስታደርግ አባት ልጁን ቴከር ሲያደርግ ህፃናቶች ሲስሉ በቃ አንኤክስፔክትድ የሆኑ ፒክቸሮች ነው የወሰደችው እና በጣም ድናደንቃት የሚገባ እሷ ደግሞ as an ኢትዮጵያን ኮንትሪቢዩት ያደረገች ልጅ ነች እና ሁሉም በየአቅሙ ኮንትሪቢዩት የሚያደርግበት ቦታ ነው ይሄ ኤክማ ማለት ለኔ ኤክማ በቃ it's like my comfort zone ብዬ ነው የምጠራው ለምን ብዙ ሰዎች like maybe you are involved with any kind of religious organization or political organization but for me just free አበባ መታ ኦፒኒየኗን የምትሰጥበት without any ዩሉንታ የሌለበት ወይም በሃይማኖት ሆነ በፖለቲካል ቪው ሆነ ሳልገዛ በነፃነት የማበረክትበት ለኮሚኒቲ አይነት ስሜት ነው የሚሰማኝ እና በጣም I am very comfortable to be part of ECMAA and ሁለተኛ ደግሞ አሁን ለዚህ አካባቢ ለአካባቢያቸው ሀበሾች ኢትዮጵያንስ ያበረከት ነው በኮቪድ ጊዜ ሁሉም ቤቱ ተቀምጦ ድብርት ላይ በነበረበት ሰዓት ላይ አይዟችሁ ይሄ አለ ክትባት በዚህ መከተብ ትችላላችሁ ሪሶርስን ሼር ማድረግ በጣም ትልቅ ኮንትሪቢዩት እንዳደረኩ ጊዜ ለጥሩ ነገር እንዳሳለፍኩ ነው የሚሰማኝና really the feeling helping your own community በጣም ደስ የሚል ስሜት ነውና ሁሉ በየአቅሙ ፓርቲሲፔት ሊያደርግ ይችላል እኔ the least participate የማደርገው ግን more enjoy የማደርገው I mean gain የማደርግበት ቦታ ቢኖር ኤክማ ነውና ሁላችሁም ታይማችሁን giving is good እና the feeling is good እና ለአገር ቤት እንኳን ይሄን ሰራን ባትሉም እዚህ አካባቢ ላለው ለኛ ሰዎች ግን ኮንትሪቢዩት ማድረግ ስሜቱ በጣም ደስ የሚል ስሜት ነውና come join anybody ድሮ የነበራችሁ ሜምበርስ ደግሞ እንደ አዲስ ግቡበት እንደ አዲስ የተነሳሳ ግሩፕ ነው ኤክማና ሞር ኤክስፒሪየንሳችሁን ሼር ልታደርጉ ስለምትችሉ ቮለንተር አድርጉ ላልኩኝ እኔ ደስታ ስለማገኝ እናንተም ደስታችሁን አገኙበት ብዬ ኢንቫይት አደርጋለሁ
Thank you, Ababa. Anyone else?
I would also like to say something. Hi, this is Amon Age. Hello. I unfortunately can't turn on my camera right now, but I would still like to say a few things. So the reason for me, like why I joined, I guess I'll start with how I got introduced to ECMAA. So I studied in New York City from like 2015 to 2018. And like during that time, I did not feel like I had a community outside of campus. And like as an international student in the US, it was very, very hard to develop friendships and a community outside of campus because like it's just a tiny bubble and you just try to exist and survive that bubble until like you graduate. And then for me, it was also a similar experience. And how I got introduced to ECMAA was in 2018 or 17, I believe. There was like a soccer competition, like youth versus experience soccer competition / like Habesha picnic. And it was like, I think a 10 versus 10 game where like there were like just a bunch of Habeshas that showed up. Like we played a good class for like a couple of hours. There was like music on the side. There was dabbo, which was delicious. And it was just like an amazing scene. And like for a person that spends most of his time on campus, it was really nice to see like this type of community engagement. And it was like, you know, as a student, I was very homesick. And for me to find a community where I can share like my values and just enjoy people's company was very important. And then like after that event, I got introduced to a few people, Dins and Adam mainly. And then we started playing like football. On Fridays, there's like a league where not a league, but a meetup situation where we just like sign up every Friday, play good quas, just get to know each other, whatever. So did that for like a year, and then like during that time, I usually ask to like DINS, like, are there volunteer events, like volunteer opportunities where I can just participate in ECMA? And I guess when the time came where like a new board was being elected in 2019, DINS reached out and said like, you should run, whatever. And then that's how I got into the board. But like something that I really like about ECMA is the fact that it tries to create this, you know, Ethiopian culture for the broader New York community, and the fact that we're able to bring not just adults, but people that are currently studying in college, which I guess by now you kind of understand that that's important to me, just to create that space, the community where like the Ethiopian youth or like Ethiopian American youth can, you know, find a community outside of campus. That was one of the things that really attracted me. And that was one of the things that I tried to work on while I was a board member. And so people that this resonates to, just know that you have the space to do more if you do decide to join the ECMA board. And this is just, I guess, an open invitation to say, you know, like everyone is very willing and just an amazing set of people that try to contribute to the Ethiopian community culture in the tri-state area. And I invite everyone who is interested in this to just join the board.
I have to say, Emmanuel paid it forward. He brought his whole posse last time for the picnic. My God, there were so many international students, and there was so much joy. And
Yeah,
so
that was
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, way to pay it forward. Anyone else want to chime in?
Sure, let me say a few words. I think I started going to ECMA events maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I attended a few of them, and I was really, really happy with their strategy, with the events, the music. Jara, I think it was at Sakura Park, and I was really happy. I attended a couple of meetings, and then I saw the energy, the level of commitment. But I'm happy at the time when I think there was election time about 3 years ago, and there weren't that many people who stepped up to be on the board. So, and then I think I felt like I did not want this precious organization to be on the hands of someone that may not be as motivated or someone negative. So I said, you know what, by just me being on the board, maybe I can have that voice and save it until someone steps up. And I think over the past few years, I've learned so much by being part of this community. It feels like having a front seat to what's going on in the Ethiopian community, whether it's the communication before we send out the newsletters or on Slack. It just feels like I'm aware of what's going on in the community a lot. And now I think over the past 3 years, I've learned a lot. I've become a more patient person. I've gotten to know really, really good people on the board. There's everyone. I don't want to start names. Everyone is wonderful, and I feel very grateful to have this opportunity on the board. And I think if you have the time, you would enjoy it by being on the board.
Awesome. Should we see if any of our members have any questions based on what you heard so far, based on everything that we presented, the annual report, and what everyone shared? You can unmute, or if you're shy, you can type it in. I'll also check Facebook. No questions. That means everyone is there raising their hands to be a board member then. Okay. So I'll monitor the chat, Dins, if you want to go to the next section.
Okay, will do. Sorry, I was having a hard time with my laptop's connection. It's wonderful to hear everybody's thoughts, and none of it was scripted, FYI, for anybody who's wondering. It really was an open-ended kind of session, and not what we want to do is let you know who we are, so that you're informed before you step in, and to let you know more about the work that we do. But basically, every year we have elections, and we organized it such that about half the positions are open for election each year. Since there are 11 positions, last year, I think we were able to fill 5-6 positions that will last. And then this year we'll do about the same. There are 6 positions that we're posting. We have a couple of people who've had to drop off after 1 year, and that's totally fine. And so that ends up creating 6 positions. What we will likely do is, before people decide what they want to run for, what we will do is create opportunities for everybody to just be on the board. And then the elected body will decide who the executive officers are. So I'm going to go through to describe what the different positions are that are open right now. We have 2 general board member positions, 1 secretary position, 2 vice president positions, and 1 president position. I skipped ahead a little bit. In terms of the responsibilities, there are, in general, of the 11 positions, 5 of them are considered officer positions. And these positions are the president, the 2 vice presidents, the treasurer, and the secretary, and then 6 general board member positions. In terms of responsibilities, the officers have a fiduciary responsibility. We're all trustworthy and work together and have a checks and balance system for the different things that could potentially create risk. But there is, because we're a formal 501c3 organization, we do have some responsibilities. And so that's where the responsibility of the organization lies, is with the officers, and primarily with the president. Board members bring skills and interests with primary interest areas of their own to just serve the community, whatever form it takes. We created a statement of understanding, 1 for officers, 1 for general board members, and 1 for the advisory group, to basically be clear about expectations. Folks should attend once in a while, not once in a while, make every effort to attend the monthly meetings, but to also kind of make good faith effort to say the things we discuss internally remain internal. We bring to this organization an orientation that is free of politics, religion, ethnicity, with the sole focus of working to develop a strategic plan and working toward implementing that strategic plan. That doesn't mean the strategic plan is not changeable. We would adjust it over time, but we're driven in the same direction. After a transition period, let's say that we complete elections by next week, we have a transition period, and it's really new board members take on their responsibilities in January of the next year, meaning January 2022 is when responsibilities begin. To be on the board, a person must be of Ethiopian descent. It will require about 2 hours of meetings, once a month, and it generally means taking on a project that's of interest to you and seeing it through, and you'll have the support throughout. Terms are usually for 2 years. And as I mentioned earlier, we created an advisory council position last year where the expectation is to attend at, everybody's invited to attend, every board meeting, but there's an expectation that to attend at least quarterly and to advise and assist throughout. As I mentioned, the open positions are listed here, but we're also looking for volunteers, interns, and the areas where we need help are graphic design, grant writing, an accountant, website management, social media management, Amharic teachers, children's programming planning. We have some ideas that are brewing, and I think there's a lot of opportunity to make a more robust formal program for children and youth. And we even have a person who will lead this effort. We just need, those of you who are interested in it to give your time to it. And of course, we talked about the different ways we do fundraising. In terms of activities for the year, the things that we've learned that work and that people enjoy and want to see continue are the quarterly, trying to see if there's a quarterly fitness day, as Adam mentioned earlier. Because a bunch of us met through soccer, that's what we're doing now. But we'd love to continue the volleyball game that happened at the last, soccer day, for example, to fit yoga in with people need that, to fit running and walking in to be inclusive of a wider population. So that's why we're shifting towards a fitness day versus a soccer day. But it takes the involvement of everybody to make something like that happen. And the things you see is as programming, it's because it's the things the people who are currently on the board really care about and are invested in seeing through. Yakatit Asralet is, recognition of Yakatit Asralet is a core ECMA program that would continue every year. Yulunta and Gammana is something that we launched for the first time before COVID that was very well attended, very well received, that we would like to continue to do every year as well. We skipped a year, but we'd like to continue to do that. For those of you who did not hear of it before, it's basically the way that we held it last time was an all-day kind of workshop conference type event where we touched difficult topics that are that our community has a hard time talking about. We touched on mental health, we touched on autism, we touched on domestic violence. We will not necessarily revisit these topics every year, but the theme of the day was how do we create the space that's safe and judgment-free for everybody to talk about things that are important to them. On a more lighthearted note, in Nutawak, you've heard about in a couple of different ways. I won't spend a lot of time on it. A good number of you came to the Ethiopian Day picnic. A couple of years ago, we had such a good time. We heard the same thing everybody said this year, which is, why is this only once a year? Can we do it again? And so in the fall, we have an Ethiopian Day picnic. And in the spring, we have a spring fair. Whereas the Ethiopian Day picnic is a free event where we launch for everybody. The spring fair, as we envision it, is a place where people buy tickets to attend and where we invite different groups from the community to come and talk about the work that they do and engage the community in its entirety. Both are things we're dedicated to maintaining. Yitzhak talked about the teen experience. Coming of age teen programming in whatever form, whether it's mentorship or, different, what do you call it, group sessions where people talk about about whatever they choose to with a professional present. That's something that we're invested in and will continue as well. I mentioned that we have interest in doing more formal programming that's in the promoting heritage category that that we started talking about, and I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but the question is, what else should we plan? If you have any ideas, this is the time to share your thoughts, because as we develop our transition, as we go through our transition process, as we are entering the holiday season, what we do is regroup and start doing our programming for 2022. And we'd love to hear what you want to see and make sure that we plan for it in the coming year. I'll pause here for any questions, ideas, anything from the full audience, please.
And this may be a good time, Asafu, to launch the third poll, just to get a sense of who's in the room and like what demographic you identify with. That will also help us understand what type of events, you know, you may find helpful to have in the future. So አማርኛ ለሚናገር ሰው እስካሁን ያቀረብነው ነገር የተለያዩ ኢቨንቶች አሉና ወደፊት ምን አይነት ፕሮግራሞች ማየት ነው የምትፈልጉት? ለተለያየ እድሜ የሚያካልል ነገር ነው የምንይዘው። ለልጆች ፕሮግራም አለን፣ ለወጣቶች አለን፣ ለተማሪዎች አለን፣ ለእድሜ ባለጸጋዎች የሆነ ነገር ማዘጋጀት እንዳለብን ይገባናል። የሆነ ጋላ እንደ ዲነር ነገር አስበን ነበረ። ኮቪድ happened and we couldn't go through with it and we are hoping እሱ ሁሉንም የሚያካትት ይሆናል እና ሀሳብ ካላችሁ በሚቀጥለው ዓመት ምን አይነት ነገሮች ማየት የምትፈልጉት? በትምህርት ደረጃ እንደዚህ አይነት ነገር መማር እንፈልጋለን፣ ኑሯችንን ያዳብረናል የምትሉት ነገር ካለ ወይም ደግሞ የሚያገናኘን ነገር ወይም ህይወት ኑሮ ላይ የሚከሰቱ ነገሮች ለማሸነፍ ይረዳናል የምትሉት ነገር ካለ ብታሳውቁን ጥሩ ነው። ቻት ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ፣ አለበለዚያም አንሚት አድርጋችሁ ሀሳባችሁ ማቅረብ ትችላላችሁ።
Hi, ትዝታ ራሄል ነኝ. I would like to suggest the book club and also maybe workshops around financial education. You know, for anyone, actually, not a specific age group, but we can all use financial education.
Okay, great. Book club, I think ጀምረን ነበር መሰለኝ አይደል?
Yeah,
okay.
I think we did too.
So ምናልባት ኢቨን እንትኑን ታይትሉን ፖል አርገን ሜምበሮቻችን እንዲመርጡ ነገር ምናልባት ማድረግ እንችላለን። Financial education is always good from any angle. Commentum aለን speaker series or cooking lessons. Oh, like Abisha cooking? Is that what you mean? So some of the, okay, yeah, that's actually good. I think we had, actually the Young Ethiopian Professionals Network, I don't know if it's still around New York City, I think at one time had Injera Meeting the restaurant, which was pretty cool. Penn, yeah.
Yeah, the college workshop was also very good.
Mm-hmm.
I know we had people even from DC and different states that logged in,
mm-hmm.
and we've done it for 3 years, so
yeah,
maybe a good one.
Yeah, so cultural events, so that's a good one, like a hands-on ነገር አይደለ? I remember, do you remember one of the board meetings, ዶሮ ወጥ ያመጣችልን እህታችን?
Mimi.
The middle of the boardroom. It's awesome.
Mimi.
Okay, cultural events, great, keep it coming. What else would you like to see?
Theater.
Mm-hmm. So we typically partner with
Taitu culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a great, well-attended event to the last one we had.
Yeah.
So DINS also, as we're going through the Q&A, which is great, DINS also has retagged the board nomination form. So እስካሁን የሰማችሁት ነገር ደስ ካላችሁ ካነሳሳችሁ እሱን ሊንክ ንኩትና you can touch the link that's in the comments to either nominate yourself or others. Did we do the poll, Asafu? It doesn't come up on my end.
Yeah, we did it.
Okay. What does it look like? Like, what do we have in the room?
So the question was, which demographic describes you best? And there are 4 categories: family, elderly, student, and young professional. and most people, 57%, selected family and 43% selected young professional.
Okay. Maybe we have to clarify what elderly means, huh?
And probably family.
Oh, I thought the 47 was, oh, the 47 is young professionals?
Yeah, 47
Got it.
is young professional.
And then I thought the 57 was family, no? What are we missing? What's the fourth one?
Oh, no, yeah, I just meant family.
College students.
College students. Okay, got it. Okay.
What about a career development? You know, I was thinking like maybe having people from different careers talk to college or high school kids. So it's not just about college, but like people in different fields.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that can be more of like even a panel too. You know, it could be virtual, it could be in person. I think that would be a great, so I'm writing all this down. And of course, I think, are we recording? Should we be recording? I'm taking some notes though.
I think the Facebook Live is something that we could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. I think that's great, and that's something fairly easy that we can do. Online, the online application, I forget, does it have anything about career, like what people, what profession they're in? Because I know we were talking about,
Yes.
it does, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one way to leverage like who within our membership is in what profession, so we can kind of do that. So that's fairly low effort to pull together. So far we have book clubs, kind of reviving it really. We had it before, financial education, cultural events like cooking. So yes, I think Salam, we did mention that, someone else mentioned it as well. So like hands-on ideally, although perhaps maybe we can try virtual as well. Theater, oh boy, I can't read my own handwriting. I wrote something here. Oh, career development.
Yeah.
Okay, career development. Got it.
ባለፈው አስበን ያላሳካ ነው ማዘርስ ናይት እንዲኖረን በተለይ ያንግስተርስ አዲስ ወላጆች ከህዝብ ብዙ ኤክስፔሪየንስ ሼር ማድረግ ስለሚችሉ ማዘርስ ናይት ቢኖር ቆንጆ ይመስለኛል።
Mom's night out.
Yeah.
We need more male representation so that there can be a dad's night out.
እንትን ፒክኒኩ ላይ እንዳየነው ማአት ህፃናቶች አዳዲስ ፋሚሊዎች አሉ፣ አዲስ ልጆች ያሏቸው እና የማዘርስን አይተን ከዛ በኋላ ደግሞ እንግዲህ ፋዘርስን ኦርጋናይዝ ማድረግ ሪስፖንሲቢሊቲ ወስዶ ያን ኦርጋናይዝ የሚያደርግ።
What ideas do you all have for engaging our older generation, right? So some of the conversations we have board meeting ላይ ስናወራ, like I know ይሄ ሀገር ለትልቅ ሰው አስቸጋሪ ነው, you know, like ወጥቶ, you know, እንደ ሀገር ቤት ቡና ምናምን የሚጠጣበት ነገር አይደለም, እና trying to do something for them. And I think, you know, virtual is probably not the way to go for them, but like what type of events do you think would be helpful to, so we can help them meet other folks? Like I know ቤተክርስቲያን ምናምን ሊሄዱ ይችላሉ, ግን that's one area that we really try to address in the past. Coffee ceremonies, yeah, that could be fun. Invite local vendors. Yes, so Salam, thank you for suggesting that. So we actually had, there was a portion of the, was it the spring, what did we call it, Dims? The spring fair?
Spring fair.
Okay, so which was like, you know, part picnic, part we had the panels and stuff like that. It was really well attended. I think the logistics got a little, we were thinking about kind of holding tables for the different vendors, businesses, so that folks can go in and you know, meet with them and stuff like that. There were some limitations in terms of how long we had the inside space, but that's definitely something that we want to nurture and support and showcase, right? So we do it a little bit through our newsletters and social media and stuff like that, but definitely putting the name to the face of the businesses, both, you know, products and services in the New York tri-state area. So definitely it's in our radar. I think it's just a little difficult to do virtually, but we'll definitely add it to the list. Something about, so Martha, do you mean in relation to like, oh, for our elderly populations that we mean, asking them to share stories?
Yeah, that's what I meant actually, is if they'd be willing to share certain stories about, I guess, like what they experienced in Ethiopia.
That's a really cool idea, and maybe over coffee, right? Bunna እየጠጣን. Okay, excellent. I love all of these ideas. So storytelling. Excellent. Okay. Keep it coming. I will, yep, something for small businesses. I have that down. Thank you. Keep it coming. But in the meantime, I want to kick it back to Dins. Is it back to you? So we can go through what's coming. And then, you know, anyone, we did share the link for nominations. And so it might be also helpful to see from who's listening in, you know, who's kind of thinking about the board roles, and if you have any questions or people that you think may be a good fit, so we can reach out to them.
That'll be great. Please, I will just wrap up and say, here's what's next. There's a delay between my laptop and where you're seeing things. My apologies for that. But here we are. So if you're not already, please become a member. Tell your family, tell your friends to become a member or to get on our email list. You saw earlier, it's pretty easy. You just have to put your name and email. Those are the things that are critical. Everything else would be wonderful. Some people feel like it's too much information to give about themselves, and don't let that be a barrier. That's just a means of us collecting information to be able to be responsive, but just name and email is fine. And the link is here for where you can do membership. Follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. It's at ECMAA NY. We're really putting lots of information there. And so there's going to be a huge benefit to following. Invite your friends to do the same. And then, like we talked about, nominate yourself or someone you know. We are opening nominations through 8 p.m. tonight, right? So please, 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 if you're interested, if you know others are interested, please add your name to that form. Ideally, you've spoken to the person and they're a yes before you put them into the form. But in case it's not, we will double check with everybody. And our goal is to launch the ballot, and it's going to be a virtual election. That's what we did last year. And maybe before we wrap up, Tizu, you can tell folks a little bit about what to expect on that front. But our goal is by tomorrow to launch that and close the election by next Sunday, a week from today, so that we can identify who will be on the board. We will, because it's there are too many officer positions to put up for a vote without knowing who's who. So for that reason, we're just going to ask you to elect general board members, and then the board, once elected, will, and this will be the top vote getters, the people who are currently on the board, and the people who are going to be elected because they got the most votes, the most number of votes. That group of people will then nominate who the officers are. And that will be by next Sunday, October 24th, to complete. And then, as I mentioned, what we do is November and December, we really use to plan out the year. We, on our website, on the events page, will list with tentative dates or even just the month we're designating for possible programming. And, you know, for possible events to be associated with a particular month. And then we'll be reaching out to you. One final thing I want to let you know is until we get Salesforce completely figured out, we're sending you emails from a groups at gmail.com account. What that means is sometimes that might go into your spam folder. So please add us as a contact to your contact list so that our email to you is not automatically redirected to a spam folder. And that's kind of us in a nutshell and our programming. And to Zoo, I'll pass off to you to close us out and to manage any questions that come up.
Absolutely. Thank you, Den. So we have shared the links, 2 links we shared in the comments, and also for those of you following on Facebook, 2 links. One is the summary of the roles of the board, right? So if you're anything like me, you'd like to know what you're getting into. So we have a link prepared for that. And we also have a link, a Google link for nominating yourself or others. So I'll just say that the form, when you look at it, it's gonna be presented as if you're nominating yourself. And so if you're nominating others, just add their information, and in the comments, you can say who you are, right? So we know who nominated that person when we contact them. And so I know that based on the story that we shared and all the work that we've done and what you've seen and what you felt, there may be some souls who are inspired to step up. So I actually like to open it up and say, who is thinking about or interested in potentially assuming a board role?
Hi, this is Tabara. I am definitely interested in pursuing a board role. Would love to learn more. Thank you for this information. I've heard of ECMAA, but thanks Tez for sending me this meeting information. I was able to join. I loved what I heard, and I love to help the Ethiopian community.
Yes. So Tabara, just so you know, she also just wrote a children's book, right? So what an amazing addition. We were actually going to have her featured at the ECMAA picnic, but you know, life happens and we weren't able to have her. But this is what I'm talking about. It's not scary stuff. It's a matter of understanding what we do, how much time, you know, you're willing to give. And we're very respectful of that, I have to say. There's times when I'm able to give a lot, and there's times when I just have to pull back, you know, if life or business is happening and the people around me are able to understand and respect that. So thank you for Tabara. I'm sure, you know, Dins or someone from the board will reach out to you. And don't you know it, I've already added your name to the list, so.
Thank you.
Who else is thinking about it? And no pressure here, right? Like if you're thinking about it and if you have questions about it, I'd love to take the next few minutes to explain and clarify whatever questions you may have so that you can make a decision. Or if you know of others who are not on the call today that you think would be good for us to reach out to, that'll also be great for us. You got a yay from Asafu. So Asafu has a question. Are people who are, yeah, please, who's gonna speak? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, sorry. I'm managing a couple of devices, sorry. We have a couple of people who've signed up already. They may not be speaking up right now. We've received your name. Thank you, we love it. That's it, that's all I wanted to say.
Nice. I love it. This is how Asafu and Tigis got on last time because cough, cough, someone was nominating them.
That is very true. That is what happened.
Right? Marty, is Marty with us here or is she?
She is.
Oh, Marta Salomon?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi, Marta. No pressure, but what are you thinking, feeling?
Yeah, no, I definitely love everything that I've heard. I'm just wondering if someone were to volunteer, maybe not take a board position, but do be a volunteer, are they able to, I guess, help with projects or take on a project and be able to sort of bounce ideas with the board on like a regular basis? Or is that only reserved for board members?
So yes and no, right? And Dennis, you can chime in. So the way I see that happening is we definitely, so you are able to kind of take on a project and work with a board member, right? Depending on the scope of the project and what type of input you need. So maybe someone from the board is partnering with you. If it's something that you need sort of more than 1 or 2 people, maybe you can be a guest at that particular board meeting or something like that, right? But don't shy away. If you think you have some time to give, don't shy away from the possibility of exploring the board idea. So something that we do have, although at this point we may have enough, is at the advisory role, right? So our past, so when I signed on about 3 years ago, part of the reason why I said yes to is because our past board members were willing to stay on as, we didn't really have a formal advisory role the way that we have now, but they were willing to stay on as resources should we have questions, right? As we kind of rebuild the organization. And so that's kind of what will happen here too, is there's actually formal advisory roles where our advisory roles are, joining us at most of our meetings, and they're parting wisdom and advice and resources. And some of our advisory boards actually work as much, if not more than some of us at the board level, right? And so there's that role, but I feel like the need is a little bit more on the board level now than the advisory. But we're pretty fluid and flexible, so there's no black and white yes or no. Like if you have the time and talent and able to give us time, we will find a way to leverage that. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, thank you. No, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Excellent. Let me see what else I missed. So Asafo asked, are people who are leaving the board open to being nominated for a different position? I think that may be like a case by case thing, depending on how much time those people have. Some of us are willing to stay on the advisory board, right? Some people may be able to not be on the executive board, but be on the general board. What else? Okay, what other questions do you have? Govana, any words of wisdom from you? Or Kasahun, we haven't heard from.
You guys are doing amazing, and I'm really inspired. So as for me, I have to be a good member. At least I signed up last year, but I haven't done anything. But be assured that I'm going to be committed to get members signed up. I'll start from my family, and I'll make sure that any person that I speak with in the tri-state, I'll make sure that ECMAA is one of the topic. But it's really amazing what you guys are doing. One point I want to mention, somebody talked about cooking, and I know what's his name, Samuel, the chef that's the well-known chef, Samuelson.
Yep.
He had mentioned on one of the events that we had that once COVID is over, we can do a fundraising, cooking Ethiopian food or something. So maybe you guys can contact him and do that.
Yeah, from Red Rooster, right?
Yes.
All right, awesome. We'll get on that. He's a celebrity
right,
chef, so I'm sure people will find it helpful. Thank you so much. And so that's another way to support us as well, as just getting the word out, right? So we're all volunteers and we're doing this work to support our community. And it's a shame if our community needs help and doesn't know that we exist, right? So that's another way. So let's see. Einai, Briktav, Ermias, and I just saw Kasahun. Yeah, Kasahun popped in. Anything that you guys want to add or any reflections?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the information. You guys have inspired me to give back. And I'm new and don't have a lot of experience on a lot of things, but I do have time and I am happy to help out where I can. So yeah, so definitely want to be involved in what's going on. So just want to say thank you for that.
Time equals not experience means opportunity to learn and potential board. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah,
that's what I heard.
My worry is signing up for something that I'm underqualified for. So, I am happy to help wherever I can. So I like the idea where you guys are trying to evaluate where people can fit well. So if you see me fitting well for a certain role, I'm happy to step into a role. But if there are more qualified individuals, I'm happy to sit back and serve as a volunteer. So this is me saying, use me as you see fit. So
we
I don't know how
appreciate
that can be interpreted.
We appreciate that humbleness, and I can tell you that we range. I mean, the experience in terms of age and profession and all of that is really a wide range, and we've never said that no one was qualified to do what we do. At the heart, it's community service. You know, yes, some of us may be a little bit more savvy with social media or some tools or whatever, but there's always something to do for the community. So time is really, I think, the commodity that we need the most, more than a specific skill set, right? So that's awesome. So thank you, Kasahun. And he was also my Eskista buddy at the picnic.
እዚህ ላይ ለነገሩ ኖሚኔት ተደርጎ ነበረ። መጀመሪያውን ስሙን አላወቅኩት። አረንጓዴ ቢጫ ቀይ ለብሶ ሲደንስልን የነበረው ብዬ ኖሚኔት አድርጌ ነበር። I'm glad to hear that he has time to give experience የሚለው let me tell you something እኔ ለመጀመሪያ ጊዜ ነው ኤክማ ውስጥ ገብቼ ፓርቲሲፔት ያደረኩት። ለዛ ነው ሁሌ ስናገር the least እያልኩ የምናገረው ግን በቃ ኤኒ አይዲያ በጣም አፕሪሺየት ይደረጋል። የተለያየ ፖይንት ኦፍ ቪው እንትን ማቅረብ ትልቅ አድቫንቴጅ አለው። አንዳንዶቻችን የምናየውን ሌላው ክፍል አያየውም እና ሁላችንም የምንማርበት መድረክ ነው እና ጥሩ ነው። I'm glad you are joining. I'm very happy on that.
አረንጓዴ ቢጫ ቀይ የለበሰው ልጅ ካሳሁን ነው ስሙ። እንግዲህ
አሁን አወቅኩት ካሳሁን መሆኑን።
Awesome. Okay. Who else have we not heard from? And by the way, you don't necessarily, you know, when you speak, it doesn't mean we're going to force you into a board role. We just like to hear, you know, your perspective. So Ermias, if you guys are open to Maurat Mittichulu Kahona, Damsatu Bensama, Desilanal. At Enai, Ermias, and then there was someone else we didn't hear from. If you're in a position to talk, no pressure. And Brekta. Yeah. As we'd like to recognize everyone that made the time. Salam also.
Hi, Salam Inay. Just so amazing. የምትሰሩትን ስራ it's just day and night, even though እድል አግኝቼ involve ባላደርግም it just በጣም ነው የማደንቀው የምትሰሩት ስራ. It's amazing. You guys, I don't know. Just keep it up. And my position is to talk about ECMAA and make sure that everyone should, even if it's not in the board, we should become a member. So I'm already ሌላ ብዙ ቦታዎች participate ማደርገው ስላለ so if I joined you, so I have to be productive. So at this point of time ጊዜ ስለሌለኝ በተቻለ መጠን በምችለው መንገድ ለመርዳት ሞክራለሁ። ግን የምትሰሩ ስራ just there's no word to put, you know, one-to-one. It's just, you guys is amazing. Keep up with the good work, what you are doing. Thanks.
Thank you. Your virtual world እንግዲህ ስም ብቻ ስለማይ ዝም ብዬ አንቺ እያልኩ እየዘረጠጥኩ ነው። ይቅርታ እንግዲህ። Okay, and then we have, let's see, Salam Nagatu and Salam Gabru. If you're in a position to talk, we'd love to hear from you as well.
Hi everybody. Yeah, I'm definitely open to it. I think I have the same sentiments as Kasahun of just, you know, making sure that you guys have what you need. So I'm definitely open to be a volunteer, but definitely willing to step up as the board member as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll give it maybe like 30 more seconds if anyone else wants to say anything, and I'll hand it back to Dins. I think we heard just about from everyone. You see how you know, people actually have the motivation. It's just, I think culturally, we're just not used to saying, wait, let me unmute, I can do it. You know, it's just, we need a little nudge. So I appreciate everyone who is here with us and stepping up. Okay, so if anyone else, Ermias, I see you unmuted. Would you like to say something?
Yeah.
Hi.
Okay. Salam. እኔ አዲስ ነኝ ገና 3 ሳምንቴ ነው ወደ ኒውዮርክ ሙቭ ካደረኩኝ እና ግሩፕ ላይ ይሄንን ሊንክ ሳይ ጊዜ ነው ጆይን ያደረኩት እና ያለውን ነገር ለመስማት እንደዚሁ ያለውን ነገር ለመስማት ነው። ለዛ ነው ብዙም ፓርቲሲፔት ያላደረኩት እዚህ ሚቲንግ ላይ ገና አዲስ ስለሆንኩ ምንም ነገር አላውቅም።
ችግር የለም። Welcome, Ermias. I actually shared it in the group me, so I'm glad that it worked and it got you here. So የሚያስፈልግ ነገር ካለ በኢሜይልም በሶሻል ሚዲያም if you need connections to people or resources, we're here. Please feel free to reach out. እሺ?
Okay, እሺ. Thank you.
እሺ፣ መልካም ቀን። Okay. All right. I think we've heard from everyone, so thank you. በጣም እናመሰግናለን አብራችሁን ስለዋላችሁ። Dins, I'll kick it back to you.
Thank you. Final thoughts ለመስጠት ብቻ ሳይሆን I realize I forgot one thing. በጣም ቆንጆ ዲዛይን የምታዩት ከሆነ ቆይ አንዴ You see this lovely t-shirt? Everybody who's going to be on the board will get it for free. Good. We are launching our 40th year. Picnic Ulay, that's when we began the celebration, and we intend to continue for the coming year. Slazi sila ECMA sitauru, talk about the 40 years. If you have any stories to share about ECMA from the past, please share it with us. And now, keep an eye out on our website. We'll be creating a link so that you could purchase your own. But t-shirt we can put it on bags, on masks, on whatever. That's going to be the commemoration of our 40th anniversary. And that's only possible because another member of our community stepped up and gave her time and her creativity. This is Tigist Kalkai. She's a phenomenal graphic designer on her own right, and gave this precious kind of design for us in commemoration of ECMA's 40th anniversary. So we hope you purchase one. It's less a fundraising effort and more really about celebrating ECMA and making it more visible in your networks. And we'll keep you posted about when it will be on our website for sale. And then finally, I just want to make sure that we talk about, not necessarily talk about, but I just wanted to acknowledge that while we're doing the work we do here, there's a lot that's hard that's going on in the world, particularly in Ethiopia. We are not ignorant of it. We are obviously impacted by it, but that's something that we take on as individuals and that we act on as individuals in our own respective ways outside of ECMA. ECMA is focused on what happens here in the New York City, in the New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut area. And we work really, really hard to share information about what's happening in the community that affects here, people here or in Ethiopia. We will share information, but we can't take on tasks as an organization. But we are, as I talked earlier, interested in promoting anything that's going on. And so if there's anything you'd like to share with us, we will share it. Know that each of us in our individual worlds are doing what we can, but as an organization, I just want to be clear that we acknowledge what's happening when we are celebrating things, when we are getting together. It's really to strengthen the community here. But in our own worlds, we're doing whatever we can. And so thank you all for taking the time, for being here, and for continuing to engage in whatever way. Those of you who stepped up to be on the board, we're going to have elections and we'll let you know the results. But thank you, thank you, thank you. With that, I'll pass back to Tazu.
Yeah, so thank you, everyone. This was a very productive meeting and we're ending right on time. So a few action items, right? So if you're not already following us on social media, please do so. ECMA on Facebook Live Malin, also on Instagram. If you're not getting your emails and newsletters, beautifully designed newsletters, please make sure you go to ecmany.org and make sure that you subscribe to our newsletters. And then just share the word and know that, anytime an Abasha person is coming into this community, they do have resources. Last but not least, we do have a family that needs our help. I'm gonna share the link in the comments. So there's been a family that's been impacted. Their son has been in an accident while he was riding a bike. He was unfortunately hit by a truck, I believe, and he is his family is focused on him, and so they need support. So I did share that link in the chat. I'll also share it on Facebook. So please find it in your hearts to help. There probably is other ways to help as well. And as we get more information, we'll share that with you. But for now, we want to thank you for being here with us. We hope that you found it helpful. We hope that you're pleased with the work that we're doing and that you are inspired to be part of the work, right? The contribution. And thank you for being with us. Good night.
All right, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask board members to hang back?
Okay.
Sorry, I'll repeat because there was an echo.
I'll stop the streaming. Hang on.